Okay, if I could have your attention, please. We have a very special announcement and a very special group of young people that are in the media center right now. The NASCAR Drive for Diversity Crew Member Development Program will be holding its first ever National Combine tomorrow to recruit the next class of outstanding pit crew men and women. The redeveloped scouting process included visits to 6 universities across our country, and the top participants were invited to Concord to compete for one of 10 spots in the program. Last season, more than 25 graduates competed against all 3 NASCAR National Series. 2 were members of the championship-winning number 60 Roush Fenway Racing Team in the NASCAR Xfinity Series with Chris Buescher's team. To talk about this year's first ever Combine, we have NASCAR Senior Vice President of Racing Operations, Jim Cassidy. Jim, thanks for being here today. Rev Racing Director of Athletic Performance, Phil Horton, who will lead tomorrow's activities. Phil, thanks for joining us. And 2 of the participants, former student athletes and outstanding young people in their own right, Joshua Tate and Brianna Daniels. Joshua is a football All-American at Clark Atlanta, where he started as defensive back. And Brianna is a Norfolk State University alum who played point guard on the basketball team and was an academic honor roll student. I'm going to start with Phil. And Coach Phil, you oversee the development of training program for the D4D crew members. Tell us what you're looking for in these athletes and what you will be looking for in particular during tomorrow's Combine.
Well, obviously, we're looking for athletes, participants that can do 12-second pit stops. I mean, like, immediately. We need them to learn and be able to perform, you know, those type of pit stops as fast as we can get them up and running. To be realistic about it, though, we know that it's going to take about 3 to 4 years for them to actually meet that goal. We're looking for athletes that are bigger, stronger, and faster than the average individual so that they can perform those 12-second pit stops and be able to help drivers win races on all 3 circuits. We're also looking at the mental aspect of it. That's why we chose these college graduates from these prestigious universities. After you learn how to go through the process and become fundamentally sound as a pit crewman, you have to be able to handle it mentally. You have to be able to handle the pressure. You have to be able to perform when the car or the truck is running up front. We're looking for a select group of athletes that can make that happen.
Thank you, Coach. And Jim, if you would please tell us about the recent evolution of the NASCAR Drive for Diversity program.
Thank you, Kerry. First of all, I just want to thank our team, Brandon Thompson and Gloria Molina, for all they've done to put this program together. Really appreciate our relationship with Rev Racing over a lot of years. The evolution of this pit crew program in particular wouldn't be possible without the partnership with Rev, without the partnership with Coach Horton. Really, the recent evolution came about actually 2 years ago when Coach and I spent some time in St. Louis in the at Forest Hill Park. We were endeavoring to begin to reach out nationally with the program. We spent a lot of time talking about the opportunities for athletes in the St. Louis area to become part of the program. And we began there talking about how we could build a bridge and an opportunity to create a more nationally based program. On its own, this program has been so successful, as Kerry mentioned some of the stats. Once an athlete comes into the program, there is really a 100% placement rate within NASCAR. So if you make it into the program, you do the work, you're going to get a job, and that's proven. But we wanted to talk about building the program, building it more nationally, and we did this through the program that you see today, and that will culminate tomorrow in the first really national combine. I told the group last night we appreciate them being here. We understand that they've got a choice professionally post college, and we're truly honored that they are considering a potential career path in NASCAR. I'm quite sure that a career in NASCAR might not have necessarily been on their radar screen over the last 6 months or a year or however long. But we couldn't be happier that they have they're looking at NASCAR for a career choice. Really appreciate Brianna and Joshua being up here with us. Certainly a good example of the caliber of athletes that we've got here for the combine tomorrow.
Thank you, Jim. And let's turn our attention to the athletes, the ones that will be in action tomorrow. Joshua, you were a football All-American at Clark Atlanta. I understand you have ambitions to play in the National Football League, and recently attended a mini camp with the Chicago Bears. What led you to want to try out for this program?
Well, Coach Phil came to our school, Clark Atlanta University, about 2 days before my pro day. So he was basically explaining how this is another opportunity. You know, the NFL, and thank you to the Chicago Bears for that great opportunity, but the NFL is a long shot for a lot of people, especially coming from a small school like myself. So I just saw this opportunity, and after I wrapped up the training camp with the Bears, I said, hey, I might as well come down here. NASCAR, the Drive for Diversity, that speaks for itself, wanting to come and make a name in another sport, it being a whole nother broad sport in itself. So basically just wanted to, I'm an opportunist coming down here. Thank you to Coach Phil and Brandon, who's a Clark Atlanta alum, just came to the school, talked to me one-on-one about NASCAR, about this program, and how good it is. So, and just coming down here and seeing it now in my own eyes, it's like, wow, the sport, I'm starting to love it. I'm starting to gain a whole love for the sport. So,
thank you, Joshua. And Brianna, as a former student athlete at Norfolk State, you're certainly accustomed to training hard to improve your performance. And earlier today, you had the opportunity to practice and train for tomorrow's combine. Tell us about that experience, and what are your expectations for tomorrow's combine?
Wow, today was a lot to learn, in a little bit of time. But unfortunately, that's how life works. We might not always be in control of, how much time we have to put things to work, but we have to do it. But, it was a new learning experience for me. Seeing, my position, I would be a tire changer, my height, I'm so small and everything. Just picking up that gun and just actually putting it to work. Like, it was just so tough. But, with more reps and more practice, of course, I started to getting better with my touch on the bolts and everything. So, practice makes perfect. So I feel like if I get more practice, I'll do a really good job at this.
Well, super. We can't wait to watch you all in action tomorrow. In fact, we have all of the folks that are going to be at the Combine tomorrow. It's a great-looking group. They're in the back of the room, and thank you for joining us here today. At this time, we'll take some questions to those that are up front. And if you have a question, raise your hand, state your name and affiliation, and we'll start right over here to the far right with Jim.
Jim Mutter, motorsport.com, for Joshua and Brianna. Before each of you were approached about this possibility, did you have any idea of what went into the whole process of pit crew and pit stops and stuff in NASCAR?
I'll go first. I wasn't really familiar with the information, but as time went on, I would do my research and stuff. I searched a lot of videos on YouTube and seeing how fast they worked in the pit crew stops, and I was amazed, just seeing how fast they get the job done together as a team. So, teamwork will definitely get the job done. So.
And myself, before this experience, No, I wasn't. I only knew of Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Jr. and when they would win something. So no, I didn't. Especially in the pit crew, I didn't know that much about cars myself. Just what my dad taught me. So coming here and actually performing and learning the actual steps and fundamentals, just as in our sports, is basically the same thing. And like she said, working as a team. No, I didn't have that much experience, but today, with the practice we had this morning, it kind of comes along as you get better at it, as you get repetition.
Let's go right next door to Reed. Go ahead.
Reed Spencer with the NASCAR Wire Service, also for Joshua and Brianna. In the action sports that you are in currently, a lot of fast action, a lot of repetitive action. In NASCAR, working on a pit crew, you may sit for 20 minutes and then your action actually takes about 12 seconds ideally. You think that's a tough adjustment?
Yes, that is a very, very tough adjustment because everything you do in the pit stop is crucial. Timing is really everything. That comes to like when it comes to a lot of things, timing is really everything. So, you really have to have focus working in the pit crew stop. Like, it's really no joke. It's just so fast. Everything goes so fast in there.
Yeah, like she said, it's a quick adjustment, but it's teamwork. It's not basic at all. It's not easy at all, but it is teamwork. They had the metrotone, they had the rhythm in our ear, clapping in our ear, and it's like once you actually get the rhythm and get to it, and then you have your team motivating, your team moving as well. It's like it comes just like the rest of your sports, just like anything else you participate, which will have teamwork. You have to get involved with someone else. So it's not easy, but like she said, teamwork and getting it down, that's the key.
Nate, raise your hand.
Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. I'm not sure who would want to answer this, but are the prospective crew members given an idea of like what the salary range might be for a NASCAR pit crew member? And if so, what is it? And why would it be competitive with maybe chasing a dream in another sport?
One of the things that, of course, we emphasize is how much they're going to make. I mean, it's the young generation. They want to know what they're going to get paid, first and foremost. If you make it to the Sprint Cup level, you're talking about a salary with the major teams ranging anywhere from $100,000 to $130,000, $140,000 a year, depending on your years of experience and of course your position. It starts out, of course, with the Camping World Truck Series, and then it moves to the Xfinity Series, and there's a pay raise in each one of those. But ultimately, the goal is to work in the Sprint Cup Series. Salary is a big part of it. It is a performance-based job, so therefore it ranks pretty good. Of course, not with the NFL or the NBA, but with some of the other sports, medium-level sports, as a performer and as a personality. You have to really look at it for what it is. Pit crewmen are personalities in the sport, while the drivers are the celebrities. So being a personality and making that kind of money, that's pretty good. It's pretty good, and so we do talk about it, and that's one of course, that's all of them's goal is to make it to the Cup level.
And may I add, yes, it caught my eye. Yeah, so when the guys came to our school and recruited us, told us they were traveling all over the world, paid expenses, and the amount of money that they may not be getting now, but they will receive if they, like he said, some guys come from this program and went to the championship series. That's just like being in football and going to the Super Bowl. You know what I'm saying? So yes, it definitely caught my eye.
Let's go over here to the far left.
Coach Phil, Jeff Taylor with Raceline. Quick question for you. How did you get involved? How long you been involved? And what drew you to NASCAR?
Well, I was a career athletic trainer in the college ranks, and then I was the assistant trainer, strength coach with the Milwaukee Bucks. And from there, I started my own company, Athletic Training Concepts, back in '89 while I was doing all that other things. And then, as everyone knows, the Bucks, they didn't really compete for a lot of championships. So ultimately, after 5 years there, under Coach Mike Dunleavy, we got released. So I had to find something else to do. Being the owner of Athletic Training Concepts, I'm from North Carolina, from Lenoir, right up the street, and I met Ernie Irvan and became his personal trainer and athletic trainer. Started working with the pit crew back in 1998, and that grew. And just to cut it short, I started working with the pit crews, worked with Sterling Marlin, got hired by Chip Ganassi Racing, worked with Robert Yates Racing. I was Dale Jarrett's pit crew coach for about 4 seasons, Elliott Sadler's. Went back to Ganassi as Juan Pablo's pit crew coach. So, and ultimately, I retired in 2011 from the team coaching part of it as Todd Bodon's pit crew coach when we won the championship in 2010. So it's been a career of 19 years of basically just working my way up, coming in, being one of the only minorities on pit road in a competition role, and just moving from there. It's been a great experience.
Let's go here to the front row. Here, Stan, there's a question.
Stan Creekmore with RPMTonight.com. Brianna, number one, Go Spartans. I remember them from the 1970s and 80s. What, did you ever go over to Langley Speedway just as a younger person and look at racing and think, maybe that's where I'd like to be?
No, I did not.
You did? Okay, so you have no experience whatsoever in racing whatsoever?
No experience, you know, I would see it on TV from time and time again, but I've never like imagined, you know, myself working with NASCAR until like, you know, Phil and his crew came to our school, and, you know, I found out they were hosting a little pro day for the NASCAR, so I decided I wanted to come out. I figured I could do a good job because I worked really hard, and you know, it just things turned out really well for me. So.
Got time maybe for one more question? Anyone? Finish over here with Chris, and then Deb. Deb will get one in. Go ahead.
ChrisKnightCatchments.com, either for Phil or Jim. After tomorrow, how quickly will the 10 bike be identified, and what's the system in place? Will they have opportunities ready for them so that they'll be able to get into something quickly during the summer, or is this something like towards the fall or 2017?
Yeah, I'll let Phil jump into it, but it's, you know, I would say that bottom line, it depends on your level of progression. I would say that similar to Brianna, a number of the candidates probably don't have a lot of background in motorsports, and there's going to be a different learning curve as they, as Coach gets through the selection process and then gets through the onboarding process. He's going to understand and see where the faster movers are as far as opportunities, and I'm sure that's very normal for the process that he has currently under the rolling and open program. It'll be the same for the group of 10 that comes in. There'll be different levels of progression, I imagine.
Right. We're going to move on this pretty quick. The selection process will be finalized by the end of June, and they will be notified of who's going to be the candidates, and they will have to be back here in North Carolina by September 1st. That's when they start. After September 1st, they will come in. They will start training at Rev Racing 5 days a week, and you know, learning the fundamentals of how to be a pit crewman, learning all about it, and moving up.
Final question to the far left, Deb.
Deb Williams, RacingToday.com. This is for Brianna. In the 1980s, Bill Venturini had an all-female crew, pit crew in ARCA, and they would lift the tires and the wheels up into place by rolling them onto their thigh area and then using that strength to lift it up. Do you use any type of technique like that, or do you have a technique?
A technique I just came up with today, since today was like really my first day like dealing with tires. You know, I just stuck my index finger, my middle finger in there, my thumb at the bottom of both sides, and just pulled it out. So that was really my technique for the day. I didn't have much, but it worked.
Maybe I can help her with a little bit on that. Back in that time, that was the way that they actually indexed the tires. Now the carriers, of course, throw the tire on for the changers, so the changers don't have to deal with it. Most of our females, of course, are changers because of their size. We have a template per athlete of which we use to what position we're going to put them in. So actually, we have yet to come across a female that can handle the carrying duties because of that.
Well, listen, I want to thank Jim. I want to thank Coach Horton, Brianna, and Joshua for joining us today. I believe you have been distributed some information about the program. I want to encourage you to come by the R&D Center tomorrow, right down the road between 12 noon and 4 o'clock, and watch this combine. I think it's going to be outstanding. And certainly all the affiliates that are here, all of those of you with a camera, you talk about some great photography and great film. This is going to be it here tomorrow at the R&D Center from noon to 4.